Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stu Clark here. Today we're going to talk about tripods, and in particular, tripod height, how high or how tall you need a tripod to be. For general purpose, most photographers want a tripod where they can stand behind it and they don't have to crouch down too much. And that way you get the compromise of, weight and height and, trying to it generally will work for most people. So basically, prior to getting this tripod, my main tripod was a Gitzo 1325, which is actually the original carbon fiber tripod, which is quite interesting. But with the 1325, it's 59 inches high. So for me on general purpose photography, it's been great. I've actually been using it for the last 12 years. It's absolutely fit the bill. Been a fantastic tripod. Finally, I've rebuilt that one a bunch of times, run-ins with car doors and stuff like that. So when finally getting time where a lot of the legs were getting needing a full rebuild again. So it felt it was time to do an upgrade or an update, I should say. So when looking at tripods, one of my biggest criteria was going to be height. I wanted a taller tripod. And a lot of people think that, why would you need a tall tripod? I'm 5'10", as long as I can stand behind it, it's fine. But tall tripods offer a ton of benefits, especially for a wildlife photographer, and that's what we're going to get into today. So once I started looking for a new tripod, if you've shopped tripods at all, the $350 I paid for that Gitzo used back in 2012 will barely buy you a monopod nowadays. Some of the prices have gotten almost shocking, I would say. Some of the higher end tripods, you're looking at up to $2,000 Canadian. Given just buying the new camera and everything else, budget was a consideration for me. So I made the jump and I've gone with the Leofoto Ln-364C. And so this is, it's part of their systematic series of tripods. So a systematic tripod doesn't have a center column. It's just got a plate on top. And this is a preferable for me. The center column, the problem with putting a center column up, you end up going from a tripod to more of a monopod. Just by extending it higher, you've got a flex point in there of such. Fine for landscape photography, a lot of stuff with lighter gear, but once you start putting on a wildlife kit, this lens and body and everything else is about 8.5 pounds. So it's not a light piece of gear. So there's some benefits to going to having a heavier tripod is kind of a must. You can't really skimp on a lightweight tripod for wildlife photography, especially on the video side of it. You really need the stability there. As I said, the Gitzo 1325 is 59 inches. This one is about 63 inches. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in practice, it's a much bigger tripod. The Gitzo is a 3-section and this is a 4-section. The 4-section it's got some benefits to it, it's also got some negatives. But what I do like is this is fully extended with the 3 sections. So it's nice for most of my photography. Just extending the 3 legs out it's almost the same height as the Gitzo. So it's actually quite a workable height, especially when I have the leveling plate and then the larger Manfrotto 502 AH video head on top. The Gitzo, I utilized it with the Jobo Jr. gimbal head, which is it's a really nice, small, lightweight gimbal. That setup still works, and I'm still going to use it for when I'm hiking up the mountains. Anytime I'm going to be doing a lot of hiking, it's still a nice, lightweight. Vulture flower. It's still a really nice lightweight setup. So there's real benefits of having that one still. So when I bought this one, as much as it's going to be my replacement setup, it's different. And that was kind of my intended purpose. Because the Gitzo still works, I won't sell it. I'm not someone that typically sells gear. I tend to use it until it has no life left. I'll probably put a bit of money into that Gitzo and rebuild some of the parts, some of the leg locks and the like that are sticking. I'll probably just fix them up. With this setup, as I said, so this one is set right now at the medium. So let's put this all the way up and give you an idea how tall this tripod is. So you get an idea here of just how tall this tripod is. So a lot of you might look at this and say, well, that's kind of ridiculous. You can't see through it. But nowadays with the mirrorless cameras, with the screen, especially the Z8, the screen flips down so you can actually still see where you're looking. So where the tall tripod, where one of the huge benefits of tripods is backgrounds. And you might ask, well, how does that make sense? Well, a typical shooting scenario on the island here is going to be bald eagles and pygmy owls. And two of them like to sit on treetops. And a lot of times I tend to like to shoot on hills and slopes. What happens is when you've got a bird on a treetop, you often have got a distant mountain background. And you'll find in so many situations, you can only get so high standing. And there's so many times where if you could get that extra foot of height, you'd be able to get the mountain backdrop as the background as opposed to the sky. Completely changes the exposure of the image, makes a huge difference. Instead of, and especially if it's an overcast day, you get up with a white gray background versus a mountain background. Dramatically changes the impact of the image. So the extra height of this tripod, so especially if you pull the legs in just a little bit, you can see you get a lot more height than just me. So, and when you're dealing with a 500mm lens like this, a little bit of movement completely changes the angle of your image and your backdrop. So you can really makes a huge difference. So that extra height is so beneficial. Like I said, when I bought this tripod, that was my main feature. I wanted the extra height. I've been amazed at how much I've used it and how beneficial it's really been. It's been really amazing. I always made do with the Gitzo. The problem is you end up in like a monopod situation where you've got the legs so tight you really have no stability to get that extra height. Where with this one, I can still have it, good stable position, and it's above my head and allows me to really change the angle on the subject. It's really amazing. So a situation where you're on a bit of a hill and you put the tripod, so with having the longer leg, I can lower it down so I can see into the camera viewfinder, but then I can extend the lower leg down the hill, and allows me to have good stability without having the camera or the tripod tilting down or having to really crouch down in order to get that angle. So that's another benefit of having the taller tripod. You really notice it as you get into a lot of uneven terrain. It makes a big difference. You can just get so much more comfortable. You can put yourself into a much better shooting position, and you're not kind of hurting your back and neck and everything else. You're not crouched down, bent over. It can really help in that sort of situation. Other nice thing when you're dealing with the longer tripod is by only having the upper three sections extended, you end up with a much stiffer tripod. So this is a 36mm tripod in the upper leg. The Gitzo, I believe, was 32mm, depending on which tripod. So this is equivalent to about the 4 series in Gitzo today. The difference being this was delivered to my door for $600. The Gitzo would be about $1,400 delivered, so more than twice the price. I know a lot of people might say, comment on Leofoto. I guess some of the technology might have come from other manufacturers down the road. But so far, I've had this for about 8 months now, and I've been really happy with it. It seems excellent. Leg locks are good, locks off really solid, really nice. So one of the benefits of a 4-section tripod over a 3-section, and I've always used 3 sections. I like the fact they're generally quicker, and I wouldn't choose a shorter 4-section tripod. Having to extend all 4 sections each time is a bit of a pain, to be totally honest. But with the height of this tripod, where it's almost perfect for me with just 3 sections extended, it works really well. You don't have the lower section extended, you just have the 3 upper sections extended. It makes for a really solid base. I believe this one's rated to 77 pounds, and I think that's where the rating comes in. I do notice when you have the lower section extended, there is a little bit of flex. I actually find it's actually not quite as stiff as my Gitzo. And I'm sure if you got a new Gitzo for, like I said, $1,400, it is a better tripod. You will find that torsionally it's going to be a little bit stiffer. But so far, the limitations of this one, I have not found them. They've been excellent. I've been really happy with it as a tripod setup. But another nice feature when you've got that fork, the lower leg compressed, is you've got more weight down low. So this tripod, because that lower section, so the bottom sections here are basically two pieces of the tripod, a little more weight lower down. So it will give a little bit better balance and a little less likely just to have any sort of accident happen by having that weight a little bit lower. So that's another nice plus with the fore section. You say it's tall tripods are not just for tall people. And I think, you know, other little shoots. So I was shooting a northern saw-whet owl the other day, and that was one where the taller tripod really made a big difference. And so it was a situation where there's just a tiny little window, and getting the tripod extended up that you could get above the branches and kind of eliminate some of the clutter and get the image of the bird and get right in tight on them was awesome. And it really made it, I was able to really get some amazing video and photos because of the taller tripod. So yeah, like when you're looking for tripods, and unfortunately, you know, it's 6 pounds. There's more weight involved for sure. There's no way around that. I can't say enough. I've been so happy with it. It's been excellent. And for the money, it's really tough to beat. And it's really tough to beat. You know, like I said, the other ones, they're amazing tripods. You know, the Jobu, Really Right Stuff, Gitzo, all phenomenal tripods, no question. But they're not cheap. And right now, this was the tripod that fit the bill for me. And so far, I've been really happy with it. Sure, getting a lot of questions. So this is the Leofoto LB75, and this is actually a leveling plate. So this allows me to, I don't have to try and level the tripod legs. This allows me to level from this middle part here. This makes it super simple for any sort of leveling, but also when you're shooting video, especially things like waterfowl and the like, where you've got the tripod extended low, you just can't get the legs level if you've got them splayed out. So this allows you to level it quickly so you get the horizon of the water level, nice and simple, works great. And then I've got the Manfrotto 502AH fluid head here. And it's good. It's good. I wouldn't say it's great. One thing I did do, I reversed the way it's meant to be used. It's meant to be used flipped around. You have the arm that you can extend off for panning. The problem is then the lock is on the wrong side, and I find with this kit, I'm definitely pushing the max limit for this setup. So I find the fluid head is basically set at maximum on the tilt, and it's set mostly maximum on the pan as well for most situations. So I find that with this, I'm so used to it now, where basically the lock is on the left side and so is the pan. I can lock both of these off with my left hand when I'm shooting, and that works really well. And I find I originally had it the way it was intended, and I just quickly got frustrated with it. So this works a lot better. I'm really kind of getting used to it and enjoying it. One trick that I hadn't seen before, I've seen mentioned online, or you know, one of those things sometimes you just never, for whatever reason, you just don't clue into it. And so when you're shooting with a Manfrotto, everything I own is Arca Swiss. The Kirk Photo collar on this lens, which is Arca Swiss. All my cameras, the small rig plates are Arca Swiss on the bottom. So having Arca Swiss on everything just makes sense. So having to switch to a Manfrotto head just was very difficult. Never even occurred to me, you can just buy a 3-inch or actually a 4-inch Arca Swiss plate and mount it to the Manfrotto plate. And it works awesome. So basically it's a quick conversion of the Manfrotto head over to Arca Swiss. Just, yeah, it makes sense. If you shoot Arca Swiss and you want to use Manfrotto, this is definitely the way to go. And just eliminate all those Manfrotto plates. So yeah, there's kind of the skinny of it. And like I said, a maximum height for the plate is about 72 inches with this setup. So it works great. And like I say, it just gives you so much more height and more options to kind of get your background perfected. And that's, like I say, #1 reason for a tall tripod is the backgrounds and your back. Till next time, see you out there.